I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
I think we're on, you know. I think we're on.
Ooh, exciting
It's-
times.
don't come off OBS.
I will not. I will not dare do such things. Okay. All right. So, light housekeeping. How you doing?
I'm good. Before we go into this, because we did a pod before and there was no sound. So can we just check the sound is going? We gotta do that because it's
Oh
late.
my god. All right. Let's see. Let me get on to the thingy. Why
We
does it
gotta
say
do this.
upcoming? I don't see it alive. Oh, listen.
Oh.
One of these days we're gonna have a team, and I won't have to worry about this.
Mm-hmm.
All I have to do is show up and be great. But I don't know why YouTube will not let us be great. Oh, we're live. Let's see.
We're live. And
Mhm.
there's sound. We ain't gotta worry about sound. Sound is happening. We got sound.
Let's see.
Yeah, sound like we got sound.
One of these days we're gonna have a team. Yep. We heard. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Okay.
I'm just gonna leave it on OBS just like that, and
Mm-hmm.
not mess with it. Because
Mm-hmm.
it was a wonderful stream last time.
Yep. And no one will ever see it. And
We'll
even if
hear
they
it.
do see it, they will never hear it because we can't even hear it. But we're here. We're here,
Hmm.
and it's yeah.
We we're back.
How are you?
So I'm doing so much better from this, mystery fever this weekend, and
Okay, good.
had a nice little busy day and running around. But I know it's mad late for you, and I know you had a busy weekend too.
I
So
was just nah, yeah. It's not that late, but I'm just tired because I've had a busy week. Just a mad busy week, and this is like this coming week is gonna be the last of the busyness, hopefully.
mm,
So yeah, kind of feeling it. But good. It's good. I'm glad to be here doing this. Um, yeah, doing Formula One content.
yes.
And yeah, we watched the Grand Prix yesterday, so we're here to talk about that. You know what I mean? We're here to talk about that.
The madness in Miami. Hmm.
The madness in Miami. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that should be the name of this. The madness in Miami. But
Hmm.
yeah, where do we start? Should we go through like where everyone ended up and where everyone was?
Yeah. Where do you want to go from the race or from quali? Because technically now we didn't do sprint, post sprint, none of that, because that was all in the
Yeah.
last,
I
the
mean,
live that
yeah.
never was.
Let's do it all. Let's do it all.
All right.
Let's do it all. I don't know how we're gonna start this, but yeah, Miami as a whole. What was your thoughts on what's your take on Miami as a whole? Um,
Um, it was a lot of, I would say, midfield and back marker. There's a lot of action back there. As
mhm,
far as the the front markers, the two McLarens were like miles ahead. So it was,
mhm,
when you really think about it in terms of what was going on for the race lead, there was nothing really surprising there. But
yeah.
I enjoyed it because there was a lot of action to kind of keep me entertained.
Yeah, yeah. I think for me, like the sprint had me thinking this. Yeah, I mean, Grand Prix was gonna be crazy
Hmm.
because of the weather changes and all the things that happened.
Hmm.
I think this Grand Prix I was rooting for Kimi Antonelli more than any other race.
Yeah.
Just because he had a great qualifying in the sprint, and he missed out in terms of on the sprint race just because of that bad start where Piastri got him off the line
Hmm.
and yeah, man, it's like I really like Kimi Antonelli, um, and yeah, he kind of lost out. It's like it's been a weird weekend for him because it's been highs and lows
Right.
and highs and lows, um, and so yeah, the sprint grid. Let's go through the sprint grid real quick. I'll
Yeah.
just read it out real quick. So yeah, Kimi Antonelli is maiden P1. Behind him, Oscar Piastri, then Lando Norris, then Max Verstappen, then George Russell, then Charles Leclerc, then Lewis Hamilton, then Alexander Albon, Isaac Hadjar. This is the sprint, by the way, sprint grid.
Yes.
Isaac Hadjar, Fernando Alonso, Nico Hulkenberg. Esteban Ocon, Pierre Gasly, Liam Lawson, Carlos Sainz was way back. I don't know what happened there. I don't think he set a time, but anyway. Lance Stroll, Jack Doohan, Bortoleto, Ollie Behrman, and Yuki Tsunoda.
Yes.
Now, really interesting. Yeah, that sprint grid had when you know what happens in the sprint race, you know how mad it got for that grid. So the sprint. What do you want to do? We want to talk about the sprint results, or do you want to talk about like?
Yeah, let's talk about the results because the grid was mad. Yeah, but then
The grid
when you
was
get to when you get to the results and what happened in the sprint race.
Yeah, and I'm kind of blanking. What I can remember is that Max Verstappen almost crashed into Kimi Antonelli. In fact, he did crash into Kimi Antonelli.
Did. Yeah, he did. Exiting the pit lane,
which messed up Kimi's pit stop, which ruined Max Verstappen's sprint race because his front wing was compromised. And then Lewis Hamilton had this mad comeback because of it, and then it was raining, and the reason why Lewis Hamilton had the crazy comeback was because for the first time ever, Ferrari made a good strategy choice of pitting when I think it was like
can we say it was Ferrari's decision when it was his decision? Like he basically like forced the issue. I don't think if it was left up to Ferrari, they would have probably left it a couple of seconds too late. If I'm gonna be real, yeah,
because I was thinking actually, it was like I think he pitted in the 12th lap in the sprint race, and it was 18 laps in the sprint.
Yeah, I do believe it was at his suggestion that they brought him in at the time that they did.
Yeah, and that ended up him.
That point is going to come back around during the race because there was a point where you see what I'm saying. So I think driver intuition had a lot to do with Lewis moving up in the standings for the sprint race. I think if left to their own devices, it would have been a cluster, back there because they seem to be really hesitant. I don't want to say slow. I don't want to say because slow would imply that they're not good at their jobs, and that's not what we're saying here. I want to say I feel like they're really hesitant and cautious about the when and where, and it's more of a detriment than a help at this point.
Yeah, and actually, Lewis Hamilton spoke about it in the post actual Grand Prix in the post race interview where he was talking about it happened. He said it happened in Mercedes too, where sometimes the team are trying to do best for both drivers, and it's like you're not doing anything, and you're just compromising the whole team's race because you're trying to appease. Do you know what I mean? Two drivers, and it's just like it doesn't make sense. What's the best thing for the team? But that was good for Lewis Hamilton in the sprint because he ended up finishing P3, which is great. Do you know what I mean? Considering where he started in the sprint. Ferraris don't have pace, and that's why I was rooting on like crazy weather for the Grand Prix because it's only then that the Grand Prix is a bit more open in terms of what's going to happen. But anyway, let me go through the sprint final grid. Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, 1, 2. It's just like you can't stop these McLarens at the moment.
Nope.
Lewis Hamilton managed to sneak a P3. Then George Russell, then Lance Stroll. I was talking about Lance Stroll like he was, do you know what I mean? Like, what the hell? In the podcast that will never be seen, I was like, this guy is just like it annoys me. I was saying basically it annoys me. Yeah, I was basically saying it annoys me because there's amazing racing drivers out there that don't have a seat. Drivers like Bottas, drivers like even like Daniel Ricciardo. Like, there's racing drivers that I think can do a lot better than some of the drivers out there off nepotism. Some of the drivers that are there just because I don't know why they're there. I think Liam Lawson's days might be numbered. It depends on how the season goes, but there's a few drivers I'm like, what? Doesn't make sense. And Lance Stroll is someone I just kind of have that feeling about, but he's never going to go anywhere because his dad is, Lawrence Stroll. And then you were like, you know how much points he's got? I was like, how much points he's got? And he's got some points. And I was like, I don't know how. I don't know how.
About this the other day. We keep like dissing Lance Stroll. Like we put no respect on this man's name.
None
and then I
at
looked
all.
at the point standing and I was like, how is he? Oh my God. He's like halfway up he's halfway up the driver standings.
Yeah. So for those
How
that don't
does
know,
Lance Stroll have more points than his teammate? The vet.
yeah, Lance Stroll, just for those that don't know, in terms of the driver standing right now, he's 10th. He has 14 points. He is in front of Yuki Tsunoda, Pierre Gasly, Carlos Sainz, Nico Hulkenberg, Oliver Behrman, Isaac Hadjar, Fernando Alonso, Liam Lawson, Jack Doohan, and Gabriel Bortoleto. And it's just, you wouldn't expect it. I'm like, where did he get those points from? I feel like his dad is just like writing numbers down on the drivers. I don't know what's happening there because I just don't. Yeah, I just haven't rated him in a long time.
Oh my
god! But yeah. So anyway, the sprint final grid was where was we at? So Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, Lewis Hamilton, George Russell, Lance Stroll somehow got 4 points in the sprint. Yuki Tsunoda behind him with 3. Kimi Antonelli, Pierre Gasly, Nico Hulkenberg, Isaac Hadjar, Alexander Albon, which is surprising. No points, Alexander Albon. I think his race might have been compromised too. Who crashed into Alonso in the sprint? Oh, it was Liam Lawson.
Yes.
Liam Lawson. So that because he would have got points too, compromised his race. Something must have happened to Alexander Albon, I'm sure. Because he didn't start there, did he? Alexander was starting in P8. What happened? What happened? I don't know. So much happened. Anyway. So yeah, Alexander Albon finished in P11, no points. Esteban Ocon, same, no points, 12. I don't need to keep saying no points after their names. Liam Lawson, Oliver Behrman, Gabriel Bortoleto.
Albon received a 5-second time penalty for failing to stay above the minimum lap time under the safety car.
That was it. Okay, cool. Jack Doohan, Max Verstappen's race was compromised because he crashed into Antonelli.
And also, time penalty.
Yeah, and also I think he tried. I don't know what he did. Anyway, he doesn't matter. Sprint. Fernando Alonso, Carlos Sainz, and Leclerc did not finish. I remember Leclerc crashing into the wall himself, just driver error. I think Carlos Sainz. I don't know what happened to Carlos Sainz, but yeah, bad luck there. But yeah, as a whole, what was your thought? I know I'm kind of going quickly because I know we've got best to talk about, but what was your thoughts on the sprint as a whole?
I think the sprint race was crazy. That one Kimi qualifying gave me a lot of hope. I was very proud of him. I was here for it. And then on that first corner, I was kind of like, damn, that was quick. And then to have, that unsafe release from Red Bull and Max crashing into Kimi, exiting the pit lane, I know that had to feel like what the hell is this? You know what I mean? Like I'm doing all of this. I'm getting the results that clearly everyone expects or, would like. And then this happens. And then that happens. But key point, something that I took away for after the sprint race during the interviews, not even during the interviews, when I heard the onboard, when the team told him, when the engineer told him that Oscar would not be penalized for what happened during the start of the race, he was like, good to know. And I was like, oh, he's about to put this in his pocket.
Yeah. I remember
he's gonna
that.
Put this right in his back pocket, and he's gonna hold on to it because the next time when he does this, we don't want to hear nothing about it.
Wait, hold on, I got a question because I remember obviously last Grand Prix we were laughing because Max Verstappen must have saw that Lando Norris had started a bit ahead of the box
and snitched on
him. And was it the sprint where Max Verstappen did the same thing?
Was it?
I think it was a sprint.
Was it the sprint? Was it definitely the sprint, or was it the was it the race? Are we sure
it was a sprint race? It's a sprint race. It wasn't I don't think it was the actual Grand Prix. It was a sprint race.
I do remember that.
Because, and I'm like, did he get penalized for that? I don't know if they announced if he got penalized for it. I don't know.
I don't remember.
But it doesn't matter anyway.
But I remember seeing the replay and thinking to myself, it did look like. Oh no, he didn't. You know why? Because the angle that initially that he showed it from, it looked like he did. But when the stewards reviewed it, they said that
Yeah.
he didn't. So I didn't see what they
Okay.
saw, what the steward saw. So I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Okay.
I guess from what they saw, they said that yeah, he did not go over the line. But from the
It's all
onboard
techie.
camera, I know from his onboard camera, I swear it looked like he was past the line.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It
Which
did.
was, and that's why I remembered it because I was like, this is literally the next race
They-
after he snitched. I was like, the
okay.
irony of this, like, yeah, it's just, and also again in the podcast, I need to stop referring to it as that, but maybe I'm just a bit salty. I was talking about Max Verstappen, being like a necessary adversary within the Formula One because it's like,
Mhm.
I personally think if Max Verstappen didn't exist in Formula One, the stewards would have 50% less work to do.
Heck
Like
yes. Heck
50%.
yes.
Like, because he is just,
It's a
he
menace.
epitomizes the saying, if you're not cheating, you're not trying hard enough.
Oh,
Like, he epitomizes that saying. He's going to make it really difficult for you to pass him, and he's a great driver as
mhm.
well. So you got to respect it. I was talking about as well, just regarding the sprint really quickly. The points that they get, the amount of work and the amount of things that happen, like
Is it worth
cars
it?
getting, is it worth
Mhm.
8 points?
We've
Is
had
it
this
worth 6
conversation.
points? Do you know what I mean? You're standing on the podium for 6 measly points.
Mhm.
It's like, is it
Is
worth
it really
putting,
worth it?
yeah, is it really worth like compromising your car for the Grand Prix for a sprint? And that's what they were saying to Antonelli. Even though he was pissed because he started on P1 and finished, what is it, P6 something?
Mhm.
They were like, don't worry, man, this race don't mean anything. It's like, well, if it don't mean anything, why am I doing it?
But not only that, if it doesn't mean anything, so the points are irrelevant. The points don't matter.
Yeah,
Like, is that when he said that? I was like, I wouldn't go that far
yeah. It does matter, but it doesn't
because
matter
it
so much
matters.
right now.
It
Yeah, it
matters
does
when
matter.
there's an incident and there's damage to the car. That matters because that's time that the race engineers have to figure out what the hell is
Yeah.
gonna happen. How is it gonna affect the car? Because let's face it, like you never know. You never know.
Hmm. Yeah,
So it matters.
it's crazy
I don't I
for
don't I
sure.
don't want, him to think like, okay, I went through all of this. It was made a big deal of because let's face it, him getting that first sprint pole, we made a big deal out of it. And I
Hmm.
want to say I did because I was proud of him for doing that. Now to say, oh, it
Yeah.
didn't matter. So okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it matters, but I personally think there should be more points on the table if you want
Hmm.
people to put their. I mean, I don't care if it's 18 laps. For this to be worthwhile, the drivers can't be driving around like, well, it doesn't matter, it's only 6 points. If there's like
Mm-mm.
15 points on the line, you got to see people going a bit harder.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, to try and make up positions. It's like, this matters. I could really do with an extra 15 points. And it could really swing the pendulum of like
Hmm.
the basically the standings and like the championship and blah 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 blah. But yeah, I guess it's all been figured out. Honorable mentions in terms of sprint, just great sprint racing. Maybe I have to also add a caveat. This sprint had rain and had drivers going from intermediates to slicks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those where, and it's safety cars, and it was just like all over the place. And yeah, there was a lot of things that you can't really account for that just required like in the moment immediate decisions and changes. So I have to give honorable mention to one of my favorite drivers, Yuki Tsunoda from he started at basically the back of the grid and finished. Let me make sure I know exactly where he finished. Yuki Tsunoda finished 6th.
6.
Behind Lance Stroll. I don't know how Lance Stroll got there, but anyway, yeah, behind Lance Stroll and in front of Kimi Antonelli, who started P1. So it just goes to show you how mad that sprint race was. I
Yeah.
enjoyed the sprint race a lot more than the actual Grand Prix because
Me too.
it's unpredictable and it was just fun and there were some cool passes. Last thing I will say as well on the sprint, I don't know what's happening to the Gasly and is Alpine.
Yeah. You were saying that.
Um,
What
yeah,
happened
because they
from
had
last
like,
week?
yeah, the last 2 weeks when they was like had a massive purple patch, and now it's like, yeah, now it's like, I mean, Pierre Gasly finished in P8, but the actual Grand Prix was nowhere to be found. And yeah, I just think I think it's quite interesting how a team can kind of like boom go up and then go
Yeah,
back
and then all
down.
of a
Like,
sudden
what? It's crazy. And I also want to speak on like Oliver Behrman as well, because in the first few races he was killing it, and it seems like he's I don't know if it's
fading
the
into the
team
background.
is it's fading into the background again. But yeah, those are my quick thoughts on the sprint. You got anything to add?
I think the sprint race was very interesting. I think the mere
Mm,
fact that we had that much rain, I think I expected the drama, but I don't know if I expected that much drama. I
mm,
don't think I was very surprised at Red Bull's, and Max's error. Very surprised at
mm.
that because it seems like that's been happening quite a bit lately with them
Yeah,
in the pit. I don't last week. What was it? It's like I don't remember what was it was last week,
it
but
was
I believe
the lights,
yeah. And them
basically
having
the
to
pit
go
stop lights, and it wasn't working.
they had to go manual last week. So and then from that
Yeah.
now to this unsafe release, it makes you kind of, as you said in the podcast that should not be named, like somebody is
Hmm.
probably gonna somebody need to lose their job because this
Hmm.
it can't keep happening. This is like the second week and it's getting a little annoying now and it's interfering with the rest
Yeah.
of the grid. So we gotta like figure out what the hell's going on there. I think that for me was the standout incident where I was kind of like, wait, what just happened?
Yeah, what's
But
going on? Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. Um, Isaac Hadjar, for me, it's a real random one. He's obviously doing better than Liam Lawson,
Hmm.
but he's always around like the P9, P10. I don't know where he finished in the actual Grand Prix, but yeah, like he's always around the P9s and P10s. I always see him qualifying around there. I always see him like finishing around there. And I'm gonna jump ahead and quickly look at the race result and see where he finished. But Isaac Hadjar, yeah, P11. Like he's always around there. And I'm like, that consistency. I mean, you didn't get any points for P11, but it's like I really kind of like I want to see more of Isaac Hadjar because he seems to be like he's always in the mix with the midfield,
This is
which
true.
is really cool. Um, but yeah, like I said in the beginning of this, I really feel like this whole Miami thing, Miami Grand Prix, was the story of Antonelli's rise.
Hmm.
Um, it just didn't. There's like so many moments of like, come on, Antonelli. Oh, I missed out there. Like he outqualified the qualifying master in George Russell twice. Do you know what I mean? But and at the end of the Grand Prix, you see George Russell on the podium. It's like it's just really interesting to see that. Also, we spoke about the fact that what was it? Let me double check actually. But there was like 6 Mercedes engine cars that were So in the actual Grand Prix, Lando Norris was second, Kimi Antonelli, Oscar Piastri, George Russell, Carlos Sainz, Alex Albon. So that's P2 to P7. All of
Hmm.
those cars that qualified for the actual Grand Prix in Miami, all Mercedes engines.
Yeah.
Williams, Mercedes, McLaren. Um, and that's just that's something to pay attention to. The fact that Max Verstappen was P1 is just, I mean, he's an
It's
anomaly.
Max
He's
Verstappen.
amazing, but
Yeah,
yeah, but Mercedes clearly have some powerful engines.
without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything else to say on the sprint.
Mm-mm.
It was just a mess, but it was a good mess. It was a entertaining mess. Do you want to let's jump to the actual Grand Prix now?
Yes, please.
Qualifying, I did speak on it very briefly. I'll finish off the grid. Obviously, Max P1, and then like what is it? 6 Mercedes cars and the Williams.
Hmm.
Mercedes, Kimi Antonelli out qualified George Russell for the second time in Miami
You're
Grand
not gonna
Prix.
let that
Well,
go, are you?
I'm not gonna let that go because I'd quickly say this. I've realized that I'm not a big fan of George Russell.
I know.
I'm not a big fan of George, and I think the reason why is because he took Valtteri Bottas' seat, and I liked Valtteri Bottas, and I remember how it was announced. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How he found out, it's like, sorry, we gotta let you go. We're bringing in George Russell, and I liked George Russell when he was in Williams, but I didn't like how he took Valtteri Bottas' seat.
I'm still
So
salty.
whatever. Yeah, and then I'm a massive fan of Lewis Hamilton. Like, yes, I just am. So when he started out qualifying him, and it was like the fall of Lewis Hamilton, that kind of irked me a little bit. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. There's a bit of jealousy there. Clearly, I was like, why are you out qualifying my hero? Anyway, long story short, he's doing his thing. Great, keep doing your thing, George. Lewis Hamilton then moves to Ferrari, and Ferrari ain't doing as good as Mercedes, but there's a new guy in Mercedes. His name's Kimi Antonelli. He's got flair. He's cool. He's a young kid. He's like 18. I want to see this guy win. And every time I see him win a little bit, somehow, somewhere, I get to see George Russell's mug, just, you know what I mean, on the podium, like, hi guys, I don't know, he's just he's an annoying teammate. You know what I'm saying? I like Mercedes, but I don't know, when you're rooting for the other driver, and yeah, and the now number one driver is just constantly winning or out, not if it's not out qualifying, just out positioning the teammate that you actually like.
Yeah,
it gets frustrating.
it does.
So yeah, George Russell is another amazing driver that I'm kind of like, he annoys me. So yeah, that's just my grievances. Anyway, so after P7 we've got P8, Charles Leclerc, who's definitely the number one guy at Ferrari, if you ask me. Then Esteban Ocon and Haas, that's another Ferrari engine who out-qualified Hamilton. Then Yuki Tsunoda, P10, Isaac Hadjar, Red Bull. Then Lewis Hamilton, 12. Gabriel Bortoleto, Kick Sauber, 13. Doohan, Liam Lawson, Nico Hulkenberg, Fernando Alonso, Pierre Gasly, all the way in 18. How did you go from P3 to P18 in, like, you know what I mean? Anyway, in no time, then Lance Stroll, where I think he usually is qualifying, 19, and Oliver Behrman, who I just think he's, I mean, got a lot of potential.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the qualifying. You want to speak on the qualifying or the starting grid?
Qualifying was, it was what it was. As far as I was concerned, I was just kind of like, we're going through the motions, figuring out, who's got what. After, especially, I think I was more so curious to figure out if all of them were gonna make it to qualies after that sprint race with all the incidents.
Yeah.
The incidents, in the words of Charles Leclerc.
Incident.
That happened. I was like, yo, whose idea was it to have the sprint race 3 hours before qualifying? This is crazy.
Crazy.
Why are we doing this?
Mad.
This is stressful for me, and I'm just a spectator. I can't even imagine what they're going through down there. But like the stewards, everyone kind of like making sure that things run on time in spite of whatever's going on, because they had, like, let's keep it real. What is it? F1 Academy, the women, their race was called off because of the rain. Because I watch F1 Academy. I like to see those, women go around that track. And I was watching the race, and they didn't even come out from under the safety car for the formation laps. So, like, I was like, yo, there's a strong possibility that this race is going to be really impacted by this rain. And then, a couple hours later, we were racing. It was like that. So I was like, it's Florida. That's kind of like what Florida does. Is the weather kind of moves. The rain moves a little tricky during this time of year. I think whoever scheduled the Miami Grand Prix, whoever did the scheduling for the event, clearly this was done, like what, late last year, because I've had the calendar synced since it was released earlier this year. Like, whoever did the timing did a damn good job, because there was no way for them to know that would be the clear patch for the rain. It just happened to work out that way. I thought that was crazy. I was like, yo, it just happened to work out. This has been on the books for quite some time. So it just happened that the rain, stayed away and cooperated during that period of time.
Yeah, that's just luck. You cannot predict that. That's impossible to predict. But yeah. So I liked the starting grid, and again, we filmed the podcast and it had no sound. So some of the things that we're talking about up until the actual race, we're regurgitating. What I did realize, what I was thinking, I saw the grid and I was like, okay, this is pretty much the bog standard grid. I mean, the usual suspects up front, just in an order I wasn't expecting: Max Verstappen, Lando Norris, Kimi Antonelli. What the hell? But I was really hoping for another weather situation that was similar to the sprint.
Yeah.
And I predicted craziness. It's the first time I've predicted super wrong, and that's, I mean,
Yeah.
it's lost. I mean, I predicted super wrong, but I predicted.
That's probably why it's a lost episode.
yeah. I predicted craziness because I was like, oh, if this is gonna rain, it's anyone's race.
Mhm.
And I think Max Verstappen's gonna drive really hard and then end up, crashing into someone, and it will compromise his race. And he still drove very hard in this Grand Prix, but yeah, it just wasn't. There wasn't any crashes. He didn't really. Yeah, I don't understand how Max Verstappen's able to like. I understand how he's able to do it. I think what I'm really trying to say is that in qualifying, you get a sense of the pace of the cars. Obviously with limited fuel, but it's like seeing how the McLarens are able to pass. Do you know what I mean? Like everyone. It's like the times in qualifying aren't that crazy. Do you know what I mean? Like how is it that at the end of the race they're like so much further ahead than everyone else? What? I don't get it. I don't understand it. But the reason I'm bringing it up is because I think Max Verstappen did a great job of, do you know what I mean, making it very hard for people to make places on him. Very difficult. Do you know what I mean? Like giving places back and, do you know what I mean, pushing people off track. I hate it when it's against do you know what I mean, a driver that I really love, but I can't lie, it makes the sport entertaining.
It does.
So yeah.
Yeah, I know you're trying your best not to like Max. I listen. I was with you, until a couple of years ago.
I don't not like Max. I do actually like him. I have a lot of respect for him. I just think he's like, how can I put it? Like, what do I describe it as? He's like the antagonist in name a popular film. It's like you need that antagonist.
He's like Scar in The Lion King.
No, I wouldn't say like Scar. He's like because Scar is evil.
Oh damn.
Yeah, Scar is evil. What, he's about Lion King. Scar is like,
yeah,
Scar is evil.
Now my judgment of Scar has been a little clouded since I watched Mufasa.
Okay. I haven't seen Mufasa yet.
You should.
It's crazy.
It's a little, knowing the backstory is crazy.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Maybe I need to watch Mufasa and I'll get the reference.
What about Power Rangers? Zelda. What was her name? Was it Zelda? That lady?
I can't remember. I mean, I remember Power Rangers, but I was young. Yeah, so I don't remember I just remember that thing with the head that was in like
Zordon.
Yeah, that guy. I remember that guy.
I think it was Zelda.
I think you watch Stuart Little, the first Stuart Little. At the end, the little boy is racing in Stuart Little.
Now you're really asking me to go into my memory bank.
Yeah, I remember in the end of Stuart Little, and he's racing on this boat, and there's like a guy that's got a mechanical
the motorized.
boat. Yeah, the motorized boat. He's crashing into Stuart Little.
Yeah,
that's Max Verstappen. He's that. I'll do anything to win. He's that guy.
Okay.
And in a weird way, it's kind of respectable, but it's also like put very astutely. He drove over over Lewis Hamilton's head at one point. Do you know what I mean? It's like
he sure did. Drove right over his head.
He's a madman. Thank God for the halo, because that was Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the race. Let's talk about the race as a whole. What was your thoughts on the race? Because I've obviously, go on.
Listen, if I'm paying attention to the back, the people in the back, and not to the front, it tells you everything you need to know. It means the front is locked up. They're all set up there, and we don't even need to pay attention. We're barely gonna see any visuals of them because they're so far ahead, so it wouldn't even make sense. There's no battles going on. It's just boring up there. So the party is around here in the back, and that's how I felt. I felt like
Hmm.
there was a lot of good, overtaking. Not so many incidents as there were, of course, in the sprint race because there was not, there wasn't any rain, but there was still a lot of there was still a lot of action
Hmm.
going on back there. I mean, there were 4 DNFs. I didn't even realize there was
Yeah,
so many until like after the fact. I was like, oh, there's like 4 of them that
it's
didn't
crazy, isn't it?
finish. Yeah, and when you
Yeah,
think about it, they're not really being, inclement weather within that span of time. How do we end up with that many DNFs? Like, what's going on? Why was McLaren so much farther ahead than everybody else? I mean, 30 something
just
seconds is
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. I
Okay.
think it's just for me, it's like everyone's got a little bit of problems. Everyone's got a few problems. Some people have more problems than others, but it
Hmm.
just seems like the only problems that McLaren have is who their number one driver is, and it's leaning more towards Piastri right now. But like Lando Norris is still like doing craziness. Do you know what I mean? And passing people in that car. That car is just the engineering.
Hmm.
If these guys don't win the constructors championship, I'll be very surprised.
Me
It
too.
would take a miracle, well, not a miracle, but it'll take a purple patch. I like to call it a purple patch, but something like a massive change
I agree.
within one of the teams for it to be. Do you know what I'm saying? Um,
Totally agree.
competition with McLaren's. Um,
But
but yeah,
I don't think that team is going to be Ferrari. That's going to give them that competition because as I said in that lost episode, is I think their strategy is as confused as their livery for Miami. Like, what the hell is going on there?
yeah, that livery was
I don't
crazy.
understand.
The white and the white, blue with red.
I'm like, whose
Who's
idea
mixed
was
those
this?
colors?
The hell?
It's crazy.
The kids in my
Um,
the kids in my daughter's first grade class know not to do that.
yeah, that was crazy. I saw that. I was like, I mean, I like the jackets and the clothing, but on the
That
car,
car,
it looked like
atrocious.
someone was confused.
Hmm.
Um, and there you go, like Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris, obviously locked out the front, 37 seconds ahead of person in third. And guess who person in third was? George Mother in Russell. Like,
Russell,
I don't know how what how?
it's Mr.
What?
Consistent.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
nothing if not consistent. Like he's,
Like I don't,
annoyingly
yeah,
consistent.
because I honestly, because I remember seeing like Max Verstappen like battling. He was ahead. You know what I mean, in the beginning,
At one point,
and
yeah.
then he was battling with Piastri, and it was like he's making it really hard for Piastri to pass him. Same thing with Lando Norris. Lando Norris had to give his
Hmm.
place back, and so on and
Hmm.
so forth.
Hmm.
Max Verstappen was fighting his backside off.
Hmm. Hmm.
Do you
He was fighting
remember?
for his life, boy.
Do you remember when George Russell got ahead of Max Verstappen?
Uh,
I think it was
I
via a
think
pit
I
stop. It was,
do, but vaguely. It was
yeah.
very unceremoniously. It wasn't like I don't think he made any like big moves to pass. I don't remember. Now
I
that you
think it was
mention
like,
it. I don't know.
yeah, no, I think what I remember, because I actually did watch the highlights again, like it was it was an undercut. Um,
Mm,
it was an undercut, and yeah, just snuck in front and had the pace to stay in front, which was like, again, like I don't get it. Like I don't understand how George Russell keeps doing it. Like, I mean, I respect it. He did his thing, but yeah, shout out George Russell.
yep.
Max Verstappen obviously behind him, Alexander Albon. Also, massive props to the Williams because they were looking
Yeah.
super fast. Great qualifying, and yeah, Alexander Albon kept that fifth position, earned his team some 10 points, which is amazing. And then Kimi Antonelli, sixth with 8. I mean, that's what he would have got if he won the sprint. But yeah, man,
Mm,
I don't know. I don't know. I think it's like I hope he takes confidence from this and
me
there's
too.
a fire lit under his belly because yeah, man, he can do, yeah, he can make this really exciting. You know what I
I
mean, in the
agree.
coming races.
Love me some Kimmy.
Do you want to speak on any other those guys that are spending much
Um,
money, or do you want
I
to go
think.
straight to Ferrari?
Oh gosh, I feel like listen, that's where I'm going. I want to go straight to Ferrari because like they had more pace in that damn Lego car. for the driver's parade, which was very cool, by the way. Best driver's parade, hands down, I've ever seen.
I actually didn't watch it.
It was
Yeah,
so good. You need to watch it. Like those
I didn't watch it.
full-size Lego cars were so freaking cute. It was just seeing how they were happy, like how happy those drivers were going around that track in those cars, just made my damn day. I'm not even gonna lie, because in my head, all I could think about was like, some of these drivers are gonna be so frustrated when they get into the actual car. Like, let them
Yeah,
enjoy this moment. Let them go out there and have fun and try to, break pieces off the cars. It was really good. I don't know who came up with that idea, but props to you. Kudos to you. You deserve a
yeah.
cookie because
I need to watch
they,
it.
yeah, it's like I think they went like 20 miles. I'm not sure if it was kph or mph miles around the track, so they could go like at a good enough speed. One thing I did
Mhm.
notice from that, right, when you talk about Max and you talk about how just like one track minded he is, pun intended.
Mm.
No one else was using the racing lines, okay? Because these cars are clearly a little, I don't know how good they are on the corner.
Yeah,
And Max took the racing
the
line.
racing line.
So when you watch the
Yeah,
replay, just pay attention to that. Like he took the racing line in that big ass Lego car. So
that's crazy.
I when people say like he is, overzealous, I kind of understand him as a person, like his personality, because as a Virgo, there are a lot of things when I do that I have a saying, if you're gonna do it, just do it right, like the first
Hmm.
time. It
I get that.
makes no
Yeah.
sense to like go back and like try to figure it out. So for me, I kind of understand the idea of getting locked in,
Hmm.
especially in a specific moment. So
Yeah.
I think that might also be a reason why I'm softening to him, not just the whole, him being, a dad and me seeing him out off the track as a whole person, but that too, that mentality of, you know what, like I'm gonna have to do it anyway, so might as
Mm.
well just do it right and be locked in and have that moment, and then I can separate myself from it. So that's
Yeah.
the
No,
observation.
I mean, I'll say this every time. You cannot put any sort of, I mean, you cannot discredit who this guy is as a
Hmm.
racing driver. He is elite. Um, and that's just, yeah, I mean, it's not to be, yeah, it's not to be everything I say about him in terms of him being problematic and being a bit of an antagonist amongst Formula One. That's not to take away from him being a great driver. And if he wasn't in Formula One, I think it'd be a lot more boring. I wouldn't really be as excited to watch races.
Facts.
Um, yeah, I think back in the day before Max Verstappen, it was Alonso. It was that Alonso battle, and I remember like the battle with Lewis Hamilton and Massa.
Hmm.
There needs to be someone that's a bit of a dick. And right
Listen.
now,
Before,
right now,
I remember
Max is that
way
guy.
back in the day, it was Rosberg. Oh boy.
Oh yeah, how can I forget Rosberg? And he
I don't
quit as
know.
well. Like
Yes,
he won
and
the
he
championship and then left.
listen,
Jarring.
I'm still oh, I thought I was over it. I'm not.
No,
I'm not.
no. But that's
I'm
the
not
thing.
over it.
Listen, you're not
I'm
over
not.
that. I'm not over that. Do you know what I mean? The reason why Lewis Hamilton didn't win his eighth championship. I'm not over that. I'm not over seeing Max Verstappen's car
But
driving over Lewis Hamilton's head.
technically,
I'm not over that.
technically, right? Like technically, the way
Where we
maybe
going?
the way I'm not rationalizing it correctly in my head, but the way
Hmm.
I look at it is the eighth title being ripped away from us was not Max's fault. Technically, he didn't make the rule up. Massa
Hmm.
did. Do you see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So for me, I have more vitriol for the who. Listen, we know who's responsible, okay?
Hmm.
And his name begins with an M. And I have more vitriol for him than I do for Max because at the end of the day, Max was just driving a car. He didn't make the rule
No,
and
I
enforce it.
disagree.
What?
I disagree. I disagree. Because
Okay,
listen,
tell me
I'll
more.
put it like this. I'm like, maybe that's because I'm a bit of a justice warrior. Like if I
Hmm.
see injustice, I have to stand up and speak
Yeah.
on it. I don't care who it's about.
Yeah. Injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. You're right.
Exactly. So if you know that your first world championship is illegitimate and
you should be
you're
shouting it
kind
from
of
the
like, and it's not even shouting from the rooftops. He is he's acted like there's nothing wrong with
rooftops.
it consistently. Like, what? No, nothing. I'm
That's true.
like, what? You're just I don't like that mentality. So that's my problem with it. And ever since then, it's like, okay, you're on that side then. Do you know what I'm saying? Because yeah, man, he seems like a person that's like all about fairness and all about the rules only when it suits him. Every other time it's not. And I'm like, that's not respectable. So, and also we were talking about this as well in the Lost podcast about because you were like, I love how he is with his stepchild. He calls it a bonus daughter, and he's had a child recently, and he's still gone to work. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Maybe I'm starting to warm up to him. And then you're like, yeah, and his wife is he kind of stole her from Nelson Piquet, but yeah, and I was like, wait, what?
Nelson Piquet, that's her father. I said Daniel Kvyat.
Daniel Kvyat, there we go. Yeah, it's not Nelson Piquet. Daniel Kvyat. Yeah, she's Nelson Piquet's daughter actually. It's the captain of the family. But yeah, Daniel Kvyat was a former racing driver, and yeah, he was with Kelly Piquet.
Yes.
And now they're not together anymore.
No.
And Max Verstappen has jumped in. And I don't know. I just don't know. I was like, well, it seems like a Max Verstappen thing to do. So yeah, I'll see you at that. No shade at all. I'm just, I mean, this is just content.
You threw the whole forest and then said no shade?
Yeah, no shade. Obviously, this is content, isn't it? People say anything for content. It's all content. But you know what I'm saying.
Because it's messy as hell. It's messy. It's very Real Housewives of you know F1. Very Real Housewives.
Very messy.
So very messy. I think when I found out, I was like, Ellen? Hold on. I thought she was with. Oh my God, they broke up.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. Because listen, I've been a Formula One fan like on and off for basically my entire life. So there are drivers whose name it rings bells, even though they're not on the grid anymore, and they're probably not doing commentary, any of that. And like Nelson Piquet is one of those people. You know what I mean? So you hear Kelly Piquet and you think she's with Daniel Kvyat. It's gonna, for someone like me who is very versed in reality TV, I might add. I think it's gonna stand out. It's gonna stand out that Kelly is with a race car driver because my dad was a race car driver,
and not just any racing car driver.
Not just, exactly. So when that news hit, I was like, I thought she was with, and then I go I do my Googles and I'm like, oh, she was with. Oh, they had a child. Oh, okay.
And that's who Max Verstappen was being all cutesy with Daniel Kvyat's daughter, which is, I mean, it's still beautiful.
In all fairness, I don't know these people. I was not there. I do not know what happened. I don't know.
I'm being messy.
Daniel could be, he could be a nice fellow, but he could be a menace, to Kelly in her life. So I don't know if she has stepped up. I would assume so because Daniel was not I'm sorry, how many championships has Max won thus far? Three times?
Yeah, I think so.
So listen, I just think the irony of this whole situation, me as a black woman out here speaking on this, I promise you, if Kelly Piquet was black, everybody would be talking about this. Everybody would know that she's Daniel's baby's mother and she's with freaking Max Verstappen. I promise you, if Black Jesus came down off the cross and made it possible for me and Lewis Hamilton to be in a relationship, they would talk about me like a dirty dog because I've already been married and I have a child. I promise you that. Yeah. Nobody has to tell me that. I know that because of this right here. But it's okay.
It's not okay.
Listen. As a black woman, I gotta be. I love the skin I'm in, and I would trade it for nothing in the world. And yes, if it happens tomorrow, I will still date Lewis Hamilton, even though they would talk about me like a dirty dog. I wouldn't care.
But here's the thing, this is why I think it's important that it's like voices like ours talking about Formula One, because this is we're saying some of the things that people won't say.
You're right.
And I also think it's really interesting that even when there's Formula One film, the Formula One movie, they got Damson Idris, and another guy I know called Samson Ko in the film, and they got some black people, they got some black faces in that film, and it's like, yeah, man, hopefully that pushes more, like, do you know what I mean, diversity amongst Formula One, because we're talking about all these racing car drivers, and only one of them is like black. Everyone else is pretty much white, right? I mean, we've got some Japanese and some, you know what I mean, Asian, but it's like this very limited, very limited diversity in Formula One. So voices like ours matter. Let's get back to the results though really quickly. We went off on a tangent. Alex Albon, Kimi Antonelli is where we got to. Then Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton. Let's talk about their race really quickly because they're both pissed off. It seems like the team is just, they don't know what's going on. It was really interesting and funny listening to Lewis Hamilton's comments. Sarcastic, sarcastic comments. I didn't like it though, if I'm honest. I'm like, bro.
Sorry. I cackled.
Yeah, I laughed, but I was like,
cackled.
It's not coming from the right place though. If you're being sarcastic and kind of like feisty, like be that way from a place of being like winning. Like you've been like doing next to nothing for a long time, and that frustration is like when things are bad and you're like that, it makes you look bad. If it's good and you're being like that, it's kind of it's funnier when it's like when you're winning. You know what I mean? It's kind of like more bearable. Like then when Max Verstappen says certain things on radio, I can kind of be like, well, he is the Jesus of this team. So it's like I understand it, but when it's like Lewis Hamilton, it's like you're only talking like that because of what you've done, like at this point, like 5 years ago, and I just don't think it doesn't look good. But yeah, it was a mess though. It was a mess.
It was. I think
it was a mess.
That frustration. I guess why I was kind of like, I'll I give him that because he was right. He was. And I mean, at the end of the day, like we don't know what those couple of seconds, what it would have done because we can't go back in time. Like I'm not Superman. I can't push the earth back to figure it out. But I think those couple of seconds could have probably did more when he was asking for the change. It probably should have been preempted probably a couple of seconds before he asked for it. Does that make sense? Like as a team, you're out there, you're working on the strategy as we go along. You should already know that it should be a change that should be coming up right now or before he even recognizes that. But that's not the case. That was not the case. The change was not made in a timely manner. And then he ended up having to give the position back. And a part of me was kind of like, well, yeah, don't be salty about it because, I'm pretty sure he would have given him the position if he knew. Think about it. If they could communicate with each other, right? And Lewis had said, yo, let me jump ahead, see if I can figure this out. I'm pretty sure Charlie would have been like, all right, cool, bet. We fall back.
Yeah.
But because they have to go through intermediaries, of course, that whole message gets lost in translation. So I think he's frustrated, rightly so. But at the same time, take the lumps back on back because you pushed ahead a little bit, but you ain't do that much for you to be this salty about it.
Like my problem with it, I'll tell you like this, and as you know, I've said it, I can't stop saying it. I'm a massive fan of Lewis Hamilton. But my problem is this. He qualified P12. His teammate qualified P8. He's clearly not extracting as much out of the car as he possibly can. So he doesn't really have a leg to stand on. Do you know what I'm saying? When you ain't pulling your weight, you can't really be like being sarcastic when your teammate pulling your weight. You and them are the same. You're in the same level playing field. And also when you listen to the two radio messages, because it's exactly the same thing that happened to Lewis, happened to Charles Leclerc.
Yep.
When the medium tire started to falter and Leclerc was behind and the hard tire was starting to kind of like generate pace, Leclerc had to ask Hamilton, I had to ask the team the same thing Lewis Hamilton was asking. Like, are you gonna let him? You know what I mean, stay in front? Can I
Guy
pass?
back
I'm
here
losing lap time. But you hear like
overheating.
listen to Leclerc's radio. He gets to the point where it's like he starts saying something. He's like, you know what, guys, let's talk about this afterwards. It's fine.
Exactly. Yeah, he did.
Much more
He's like,
chill,
yeah,
much more cool.
yeah,
Lewis Hamilton just came off like a bit of a diva, like a bit of a brat, and it's like, and as someone that's a fan, it's like it wasn't cool. I struggled to root for him in that sense because it just sounded like a stroppy. You know what I mean,
mm.
a stroppy
He's being
strop.
a crybaby.
Yeah, and I'm like, I get it, and you're Lewis Hamilton, is you're used to winning, but man, this is just like the peaks and troughs of life. You just gotta, do you know what I mean, humble yourself. But to be honest, the reason why I'm frustrated because he's been immaculate at being great, a great representative in the Formula One. I mean, community, and he's been great in interviews, and he's been so respectable and articulate and patient and calm and patient. Yeah, so to see him kind of like lose it a little bit, it's kind of like, like, I mean, it's like you can tell that the L's are starting to really bother him. But he's human, so I don't
Exactly.
know.
And at this point, when does the conversation switch from he needs to get comfortable in the car to is this, is the era, what is it? This era of um the engine type, is it getting the
Mm-hmm.
best of him? Is this,
Maybe we'll see.
being phased
I
out?
don't know. Yeah, maybe. I mean, for me, I think Lewis Hamilton after this season, he's got one more season. If it doesn't go well, he's done. Like the next one they change the regulations, I don't think he's got more than 2 seasons in him if he's going to stay on this kind of like playing field.
Trajectory. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, Williams, like right now, the Williams are Ferrari's biggest competition because they
Hmm.
both qualified above, and Lewis Hamilton and Leclerc were in between two Williams at the end of the race. So yeah, that's an interesting one. I think that's more of a competition. Mercedes are a bit ahead. Red Bull would have been, I mean, it would have been competition between Mercedes and Red Bull if they had two drivers that would pull in their weight.
Yeah.
But Max is just doing it on his own. Yeah, so that's a whole other thing. The rest of the grid after Lewis Hamilton and Carlos Sainz, who finished P9, Yuki Tsunoda, P10, Isaac Hadjar. What was Yuki Tsunoda's race saying? Jim, like, what was your thoughts on that?
Did he get a penalty or something?
He
Yeah.
did, didn't he?
5 second
He had
time
to keep
penalty
like
for
five
speeding in the
seconds.
pit lane.
That's crazy.
Yes, he did.
The Red Bull in the pit lane is a madness this season.
Yes.
Just double checking. Where did Yuki qualify? P10.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he qualified P10.
He started where he ended.
Yeah, I mean, well done. And then what we got? So Isaac Hadjar, Esteban Ocon. There was a point in time where Lewis Hamilton was struggling to pass Esteban Ocon. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
at the beginning.
I do.
And I was like, the secondary Ferrari team is keeping the, you know what I mean, the main Ferrari team behind, driving behind.
What's happening back there? It's like a battle back there. Why?
Yeah, the battle back there. Why? I don't know. It's a weird one. Pierre Gasly, 13. Nico Hulkenberg kicks out. I don't know what's happening with these kicks out of Ferrari team. I don't know what's happening there. But Nico Hulkenberg is always around that 14, 15 place. Fernando Alonso, Lance Stroll. Yep. 15, 16. And then the rest that didn't finish. Yeah. Liam Lawson, Gabriel Bortoleto, Oliver Behrman, and Jack Doohan. Someone I said I'll be watching this Grand Prix was Jack Doohan, and yeah, he just didn't finish. There's something, last point I'll make as well. There's something about being a back marker or like starting the race towards the back. It's like if there's loads of crashes and you can make it through, you can have an amazing, you know what I mean, you can end up having a great work. But if you're like part of the mess in the beginning of the Grand Prix,
that's it.
It's like it's just so messy. It's just over. But yeah. Final thoughts on the Miami, Grand Prix as a whole. For
Listen,
you.
craziness. Noticing that, 3 of the drivers got lapped. That's number one.
Yeah, it's mad.
That's number one. Noticing just the amount of time. Like, it doesn't make sense that McLaren is this fast right now, right? Like, I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know if
annoying.
that's just me, where everyone else is like miles behind. I'm like, what the hell was Zach Brown and his minions doing over there in that factory? This
Yeah,
is crazy. I really need to know. I need to know. I need to know.
they're making it happen. They're making it happen for sure. I don't know
Because
how.
whatever they're doing, I'm gonna need, you know what? I'm not gonna say it. Excuse me.
Bless
In
you.
Jamaica would say that would be a true word because I was about to say, whatever they're doing, they need to let Ferrari know. But then I remembered that it was a whole thing.
Okay. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
just, we already went down that road a few years ago.
Yeah.
If you don't know, there's a whole, debacle between
That's so funny.
Ferrari and McLaren. And yeah, race strategy and just leaks. Think of it as like a
Yeah.
WikiLeaks of F1. F1
It's
leaks.
more than WikiLeaks.
Yeah.
It's like CIA leaks.
Yeah.
Um, um, yeah. You got any other thoughts? I'm like really on like I'm really looking forward to the next Grand Prix if I'm honest.
I was
I
about to say
didn't.
it.
Yeah,
Other
I wasn't
thoughts. I'm glad
loving.
it's done and dusted. I'm just looking
Yeah,
forward to, next race.
yeah.
But
Which is in Italy. They're going from Miami to Italy. Emilia
Amelia,
Romagna.
yes.
Um,
Very
yeah.
excited.
Yeah, man. I think for me, we know like if this at this point I can predict what's gonna happen for the rest of the Grand Prix. Just because it's like
Oh, we're
I pretty
going
much
there,
can.
are we?
I mean, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm saying I can predict what's gonna happen the rest of the Grand Prix if there isn't any sort of like massive update that changes
Mm,
things, or if it's constantly like good weather. Like it's gonna be the same old. Like no one's gonna pass the McLarens. Yeah, so they've definitely won the constructor championship. And yeah, everything else from Mercedes and Max Verstappen, not the whole Red Bull team,
yeah.
but Mercedes, and Red Bull, that's like behind McLaren. And then it's like a case for me, it's a Ferrari and Williams thing. Until Ferrari can prove they're a match for the Williams, that's their competition. That's their
Well,
age mates. And
can
then
you
hopefully,
imagine? Like,
yeah, it's
we're
crazy.
saying that? Like,
Yeah,
that's crazy to me.
Williams. But hey, and then if you can beat the secondary Mercedes team, then you can maybe take on the first Mercedes team.
Hmm.
But right now, I don't think they're on par with Ferrari. They need to figure that out. And yeah, I hope. I just want to see if this is the end of Lewis Hamilton, or the last couple of years of Lewis Hamilton, which it definitely is. I just want to see him have a good, a good couple of races at least, and be comfortable in the car. He deserves that, man.
Yeah.
He deserves that. Um, and yeah, Yuki Tsunoda behind Carlos Sainz. Isaac Hadjar always in that region around there.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's pretty bog standard. Bring on Italy in 2 weeks' time, and yeah, we'll be back to talk about it basically
Yes, yes, yes.
as a win. You got any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. I think going in being this deep into the season and seeing Ferrari struggle as much is a little disconcerting. It's painful, to say the least. I was asked some time ago if Lewis Hamilton was not a Formula One driver and was not in F1, would I still be watching? Um, yeah, I think so because
You
I
would
like
as
cars.
well.
Like I love
Yeah.
cars, and I was watching before there was a black driver. Like my favorite, you know, driver is Ayrton Senna, and that might
Yeah.
seem a little weird to hear the black girl say that, but as a purist, that's that's my
Mm,
introduction to the sport was my cousins and their love of Ayrton Senna when I was a kid, when I was like what 3, 4, and then developing my own love for Michael Schumacher. So coming into this era and knowing that I was so devastated when Michael Schumacher retired. I really was because I thought, oh, it's the end of an
mm,
era. And when he tried to come back, like I was here for it. And then I realized that, you probably shouldn't retire and come back. Just leave.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, like I'm gonna be honest, like when Lewis Hamilton first appeared on the grid, I wasn't his biggest fan. Like it wasn't about black and white for me. I just didn't see it in that context until I was a little older and I understood the significance of that. And I'm saying it's like in my early 20s, I wasn't, really too concerned about um Black Lives Matter, and it wasn't as pervasive as it is now. I didn't really become a Lewis fan, I want to say, until the whole, Rosberg of it all. And I was like, hold on, what's going on here? And then I kind of took things personally. And even then, I wasn't a huge fan. I still love Fernando Alonso. I still, had the people that I love. I think I probably didn't become a huge fan until that man became fine to me. Okay. And that was not until recently. The older he gets, the finer he gets. And I think that's where, and I think that has a lot to do. Yes. The older he gets, the finer he gets. And I'm just like, okay, I'm here for it. I don't really like light skinned dudes, but I can make an exception. I can see past the tone. But no, like, in all honesty, I feel like it's the activism. I don't really like skinned dudes. It's not that wouldn't be my preference. It wouldn't be my first, preference. I love dark and lovely, like my chocolate.
I just don't know how we're here. I don't know how we're here, but okay.
We always get into these tangents. I'm like, how did we get here? However, what was I saying? I was saying the activism of it all, the way how he represents his community, and also his passion for the sport and his continued renewed passion for the sport has kept me a fan. And has kept me loyal to the point where I share the exact same sentiments. I feel the exact same way. I would like him to be happy in the last couple of years of, his Formula One career, like hands down, period. And I feel like Ferrari's not doing a good job of making that man feel at home and peaceful. But I'm just saying, because I don't think Charles is peaceful either, because he was asking for pace in that Lego car too. Okay.
All right. Yeah, that was pretty dope. You know what I mean? It's random, but I liked it. I just kind of like add my little cherry on top to that and say my only final thoughts on this is Miami was all about Kimi Antonelli.
Yeah.
That's it. For me, it was all about you, Kimi. I don't care where you finished in the Grand Prix. I don't care where you finished in the sprint. Take confidence from this, because whilst everything's happening with my favorite racing driver at Ferrari, and it's not going so well, and he's, losing his beep on the radio with a team that you can easily lose your beep with. Yeah, I'm watching you, Kimi. Yeah, just keep out qualifying George, and yeah, man.
And keep answering your mother's calls.
Yeah, do that. I don't even know if you're not doing that, but you're raising that driver.
It's so heartwarming because he's in the middle of an interview and his phone rings and he's like, "It's my mom," and he has to answer a call. And I was like, "That is so sweet."
Hey man, put your phone on DND when you're at work.
Answer your mom's call.
Turn your phone off. Turn your phone off, man. I guarantee mom was like, "How's everything okay?" It's like, yeah, everything's okay. Why are we talking about this? Yeah, but obviously, yeah. Shout out to moms. You gotta love the moms, but
yeah,
DND when you're at work. And yeah, man, that's my final thoughts. Bring on Italy, and I've been tired this whole pod.
But Italy comes up right after Italy comes Monaco, and you know that I love me some Monaco. So
yeah. Let's go Ferrari. Let's see what you can do in Italy. You know what I mean? It's your home Grand Prix. Let's see if you can, not have your drivers cussing you out.
Was it? I don't know. It wasn't last year. Was it the year before when we were doing Benny, the first iteration of this podcast, and we were like all excited for Ferrari to be in Italy, and then Carlos's car caught on fire. Wasn't that Italy? Just saying.
Yeah, I've got short-term memory, and I'm so tired right now. So yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah. What are you saying?
I'm saying on to Italy. It's we're done and dusted for Miami.
All right, sweet. Well, listen, like, comment, subscribe, follow the Benny and Rochelle Reacts YouTube channel. Follow the Instagrams. I'll plug mine. Benny Sarpong, BennySarpong. And Rochelle, yeah, I mean, you want to plug your
on everything. It's also,
yeah.
I have taken some inspiration from you actually when it comes to that. Because I've always been against branding my entire thing like with my first and last name. Because I was like, it's so like, I don't know, it feels a little superficial, like a little self-absorbed. And the other day, I have to like revamp my whole thing. And one of my close friends was saying, why don't you brand your entire company under the one thing and bring everything under? And I was like, because I don't. And she was like, are you the only person that's not doing that right now? And I thought about you when you were like Benny Sarpong on all things. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it.
I respect it. And also, Benny Sarpong isn't actually my government name.
I know.
I mean, it is close enough too, but it's like there's more to it, and my name's not Benny. It's, Benjamin. But yeah, once you figure out one thing, I got tired of like creating loads of different pages. It became long. Yeah, so I just put it all on one thing, have fun, go on a journey. But anyway, I'm gonna go to bed. I'm going to bed.
You do that. I'm gonna go do some work.
All right. Peace and love. See you in Italy.
Bye, guys.